I hope that you try to do the if statement by yourself, because it's a great way to learn, trial and error, and if you got stuck, that's fine, but I will show you how to do it here in case you did get stuck. Alright, click and drag the if statement or the if block. Then click on operators and click and drag the equal statement. It goes next to the if statement. Click on looks and click and drag costume number into the first space of the if statement, of the if conditional statement. You're going to type in 2. Then you're going to click and drag switch to costume number to costume, and in this drop down box you'll click on costume 1. So the sprite is on costume 2 now. We'll double click it and it's now costume 1. If you click on it again, nothing happens. If you click on costume number 1, it switches. Now, to see which costume is on the screen at the moment, you can check mark this costume, see view on stage, and now you see it up there and you can see that this sprite is on costume number 2. To check both conditions, costume number, if you're wearing costume number 1 or costume number 2, with one double click, we're going to attach these together, which you might have done already, and you probably found that you got stuck somewhere. When I click on it, it's on costume number 2 at the moment, so it will follow this line of logic. If it's costume number 1, it's not, so it's going to skip down to the next block. If costume number 2, yes it is, so it will do what's inside costume number 2. Click on it. There you go, it switched to costume number 1. Now, do it again. It says, if costume number 1, switch to costume number 2. So we double click on it. Nothing happened. Why didn't it happen? Because after it changed to costume number 2, it went down to the next block, which asks, if costume number equals 2. And it is 2, so it went inside the block again, and it said it switched to costume number 1, which it did. And the computer works so quickly that you didn't see that it switched. So there's a way to get around that. Go into the controls in the upper left hand corner and scroll down if you need to. And underneath the if block is an if else block. So click and drag that to the scripting area. If blank. Well, we want to know, am I wearing costume number 1? We do need a conditional statement. So, if I'm wearing costume number 1, I want to switch to costume number 2. Else, which is another way of saying otherwise, so otherwise, I want to switch to costume number 1. So we click and drag that. So it only needs one conditional statement because there's only 2 choices we're looking at. So if costume equals 1, switch to costume number 2. Otherwise, switch to costume number 1. This should work. Double click on it. It switched to 2. Double click on it again. It switched to 1. So that works well. Now if you want to see 3 choices, move on to the next video, and that will give you how to switch between 3 costumes.